Hello and welcome back to my kitchen. Today I'm going to be showing you a quick and easy way to make homemade creamed corn using fresh ears of corn. That turns out tasting so good. It's one of my favorite side dishes to make, and my family absolutely loves it. The ingredients we're going to need today are corn, and I'm using 5 ears. I have one left that I haven't cut the niblets off of. The rest of them are all in my bowl here. You're also going to need one small to medium onion. This is a Vidalia onion. You'll need some heavy cream. You will need bacon that I've already cooked it and crumbled it up. And you're going to want to save the drippings from the bacon to cook your onion up in. And the onion I'm just simply going to have diced up, which I've already done, and it's already started over on the stove. So that step is we're already processing. So to get started with this, what we need to do is remove the niblets from the corn. And you can do this one of 2 ways. You can use this fancy handy dandy niblet remover, which personally I like. I process a lot of corn when I can it, and this really comes in handy. If you don't have access to one of these or don't want to use one, you can use your knife, and you can do it one of 2 ways. You can lay it on your cutting board and slice down to remove them, or you could stand it up in either a bowl that is upside down on top of a larger bowl, so kind of like this, and shave down into the bowl. Or what I will do is use a tube pan or a bump pan that already has that hole in the middle. But today I'm using my niblet maker, or my niblet remover, and it's really simple. You just want to make sure all the silk, or as much of the silk, is removed from your corn as you can get, and you just put it on and run it down, and it removes them very quick and easily. Hopefully that is not too glary for you. I know I have a lot of problems with lighter colored food here in the kitchen. It tends to leave a glare. Let me see if I can adjust my lights real quick. Not really all that much better, but if you can see, it's leaving like rows, and I'm not concerned about this. I'm going to remove that here in a minute, and I'll show you how I do that. So let me get the rest of this. Oh, and I missed a piece of silk. Well, let me get the rest of this removed from the ear, and I will show you how we're going to milk the corn cob once we get all the niblets removed. All right, I'm going to set that bowl to the side, and I'm going to bring over the bowl that I've been collecting the milk and the little leftover pieces of corn that are still on the cob into, and I'm simply going to take the back side of my knife, and I'm going to run it down the edge of the cob. Just going to set it right down in there, and this is quite messy, especially if you have an extremely juicy slice or ear of corn, which is actually really what you want for this. It will help make your creamed corn creamier, and you're going to be using a lot more milk, or the corn milk, than you will be the heavy cream. The heavy cream is just there to kind of help round out the dish and add in more moisture, so it's a creamed corn and not just cooked corn. And then you just want to go all the way around, try and keep as much milk in here as possible. And then I will lift it up and get the bottom section here. And you really do want to use the back of your knife. If you use the blade end, you run the risk of starting to cut down into the cob, or worse yet, injuring yourself. Alright, I think I've pretty much got it cleaned off and gotten as much of the milk removed from it as I'm going to. I am going to get washed up, and I will meet you guys over at my stove for the next part. Alright guys, I have moved you over to my stove, and as you can see, I've already started softening up the onions in the reserved bacon drippings that I had, and at this point they are ready for the corn to go in. This is about where you want them. They're just, some of them are just now starting to turn a little bit brown. I don't want them to go any further than that. And I'm just simply going to dump in all my corn. And again, this was 5 ears of corn. And any milk, corn milk that's in here, you want to make sure you scrape that down into your pan. I turn my heat up so that this will start to cook. And all I'm looking for here is for the corn to start cooking, and I like to let it start to caramelize a little bit, and the sugars in the corn will help with that process. I'm also going to add some salt. Corn, I tend to go a little bit heavier handed on the salt than I normally do, just because I really like the taste of salt with corn. I don't want it over salted. I just want to know that it's in there. So if you're a measurer and not a salt pincher and dropper, you'd probably want about 1.5 teaspoons, I'd say, of salt. And I just want to make sure that all the little niblets that were stuck together from when I removed it from the cob are broken up. There we go. And now I'm just going to simply let this cook. If you're using a corn that's not that sweet, you can add a little bit of sugar to it, which is typically what I end up having to do. But this corn was extremely sweet, so I probably won't have to, but I won't know until I add in the heavy cream and the corn milk that I've got. As this cooks down, I would like to remind you guys of the Gamers and Geeks playlist that Jaypicadeth and I have going on in our channels. It is a community-driven playlist made up of videos by you, our friends and YouTube family. If you would like to be a part of that list, let us know, either in the comment section of our latest cooking videos, or if you're a part of JPix or my Discord servers, you can let us know there as well. And the way to get on the list is simply to go out and make a cooking video and post it to your channel, and then let us know once you've done that. And we will very happily go over and check out your video and get it added to the list. Alright guys, this has been cooking for about 5 minutes. As you can see, some of the corn is starting to caramelize a little bit, which is exactly what I want. And I am just going to now add in all the corn milk that I've collected. Alright, you want to stir that in really well. Make sure it all breaks up. It's already starting to look a little bit like creamed corn. But to really give it that creamed corn look, we are now going to start adding in our heavy cream. And I'm just going to start pouring it in until it's got the amount of cream that I want. Probably around 1 cup, I'm going to say, is what I'm going to end up adding in here. And as this cooks and warms up, that cream is going to thicken up a little bit. So right now that looks good. If it gets too thick, feel free to add more heavy cream into it. But you kind of want this at, I don't know, right now it looks really good. I don't think I'm going to add any more. But again, I'm going to let this cook for a little bit. And if I need more, I will add it. I am going to add in a little bit of black pepper at this point. After you add the cream, you may want to turn your heat down because this will splatter and it can burn. I'm going to go ahead and add my bacon bits into it and get that stirred around. And at this point, it's starting to thicken up nicely. I do want to taste it and see if it has enough salt and if it's sweet enough. I am going to add a little bit more cream to it. Because I do want this creamy. I'm going to add a little bit more black pepper. And I'm going to add a good healthy pinch of salt. It's still not quite as salty as I want it to be. And I'm definitely going to be adding in just a little bit of sugar. So let me go and grab that, and I will be right back. Alright, I'm going to start out with about a teaspoon of granulated white sugar and go from there. I don't really think it's going to need all that much, but it does need, it needs to be just a tiny bit sweeter than what it is already. You don't want this super sweet. You don't want, this isn't a dessert. It's a main meal side dish. So just be aware of the amount of sugar that you're adding. Let me grab a clean spoon and we will give this another taste and see where it's at now. That's exactly where I want it to be. Just a tiny little hint of sweetness, and I get the saltiness from adding the additional salt. So I am just going to let this warm up all the way through, and it's ready to go. Again, this is a very quick and simple side dish to whip up. Alright guys, I'm going to let this finish cooking off. And as soon as it's warmed all the way through, I will get it plated up for you and we'll give it a final taste and see what we think about it. I've got it served up. Tonight I'm serving it alongside a quick and simple crock pot Salisbury steak as well as some garden fresh green beans. Again, this comes together extremely quickly. It is a little bit messy in the beginning, getting all the niblets off of the corn cob, but the result is absolutely delicious. It's a little bit sweet and a little bit salty, just the way I like it, and definitely nice and creamy, but not too creamy. It's not running all over my plate or anything. It's pretty much holding its shape there. But oh man, it is so good. It is so good and so creamy, just a little bit sweet, just a little bit salty, just the way I like it. I would certainly love to eat this whole bowl all by myself, but I do need to share it with my family. If you guys have liked this video, let me know down in the comments section below. If you guys tried this recipe out, let me know how it turned out for you. Remember to check out the Gamers and Geeks playlist as well as my Elder Scrolls and Fallout Cookbook cooking videos. I will leave links down in the description to them. But for now, thank you so very much for joining me. I've been Vault Girl. I hope you guys have enjoyed, and I hope I see you in the next one.